Hello everyone, my name is Mandi Lynn. I'm an author, the creator of AuthorTube Academy, and a book cover designer, and today we're talking about the 6 things I wish I had known before self-publishing with IngramSpark. Now, there are many ways to self-publish your novel. You can do it through CreateEP, IngramSpark, there's BookBaby, there's Lulu, there's a whole bunch of print-on-demand companies. However, IngramSpark is really the best company to go with when you want expanded distribution of your book or if you want to see your book in hardcover. Now, with that said, I wanted both of those things, so I actually did publish with IngramSpark exclusively when I first republished all my books, as well as when I published She's Not Here. However, I learned very quickly I did not want to publish exclusively with them, and there's a lot of reasons as to why, and I'm going to talk about them now, as well as the solution I came up with. So the first thing I learned about IngramSpark is that their customer service tends to be pretty terrible. It is getting slightly better, but from my experience, whenever I do call up someone on IngramSpark, they usually can't help me with whatever issue I'm having, and usually the issue I'm having is related directly to their platform. It's an issue on their end and they can't fix it. Like, I needed some reports being drawn up and they weren't being sent to me, and so I called them and they weren't able to send me the report, but it's like, don't you have access to my account? That sort of thing. So customer service, pretty terrible. You always have to call. I believe you can email, but I've emailed them sometimes and they just don't respond. I've called them before and they were like, we'll have a manager call you back, and the manager never called me back. They refused to give me a number for the manager, so I couldn't call them myself. All around, customer service ain't the best thing in the world on their end. I've heard this before, I'm sure you guys have heard it before. Unfortunately, it's just something you can't avoid when it comes to IngramSpark. Next thing is that when you change your book, like I'm talking about when you physically change the inside of the book, either the cover or what's written on the inside of the book, if you ever need to change stuff, it's a $25 fee. Now, that is because, you know, they are more official, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of fancy stuff going on. So there's a processing fee or whatever, which I guess is okay, but there's no fee like that on any other print-on-demand company. So just be aware of that. If you're like me, sometimes you have typos in your book and you want to go back and fix them, be aware of the fact that you're gonna rack up a bill just fixing your typos sometimes. So be extra careful with typos when you're working with IngramSpark, because the bill's gonna get bigger. So with that said, since we're talking about changes, not only are we talking about regular changes, but if you want to change things like the way the book is listed genre-wise, or if you want to change the price of the book, or the royalty rate of the book, or the description of the book, any sort of changes, don't go in until the next month. So say if it's like July 2nd and you decide, I'm gonna make this change to the price, like I want to change my royalty rate from like 40% to 50% or something like that. That change won't actually go into effect until like August, because it goes into effect at the next start of the month. Whereas on like KDP, if you do a change, it happens not always instantly, but within like a few days. So that's incredibly frustrating, especially if you aren't anticipating that. And I've heard horror stories from other authors who had made a change on Ingram and it didn't go into effect and they ended up losing money because of it and different things like that. But it's just not the best process. So just be prepared if you make any changes that it won't go into effect until the next start of the month. So the next thing I learned, and this might actually be the most frustrating with me, maybe because it's what I've encountered the most, is that I've tried to generate sales reports because, you know, I'm a business and I have to generate sales reports to do stuff like taxes. And sometimes the reports just don't come in. Like, so you select the report and what you want, and like you put the start date and the end date, and then it emails the report to you. And sometimes the report just doesn't show up. And that's when I call customer service and I'm like, hey, where's this report? And they're like, oh, it'll come eventually, just give it a few hours. And it's like, when you're doing taxes then. You're not like, you don't sit down, generate a report, and you're like, okay, I'll come back and do my taxes in a little bit. Like, you want to just get it done and over with. So it's frustrating to have to wait hours, especially when you call up customer service and they're like, you have to wait hours, and then you ask, hey, can't you just pull up the report yourself? Don't you have access to my account? And they say no, and that you just have to wait, you know, which is fine, whatever. But then it never came in anyways. Like, the whole weekend went by and I never got the report. And so then you have to like reapply for the report and put all the information in again. It's a pain. It's just not fun. I don't know why they always have this issue, but they do. And which brings me next to the next point. Since we're talking about reports / money, let's talk about the fact that you don't get paid until 3 months after you've generated money. So sometimes you get like I generate reports on a monthly basis for taxes because I want to know how many books I sold that month as well as how much money I made that month. So even though I might have sold X amount of books in July and made X amount of money, I don't see that money until, let's see, July, August, September, October. I don't see any money that I generated in July until October, which became extra confusing when I did my taxes because I published She's Not Here in October, but I didn't actually make any money off of She's Not Here until January. So January is a whole new year. So I was like, how do I file my taxes? Like, does that income go in for 2019 or 2018? Like, which one is it? And I just kind of assumed it went for 2019 and I didn't get audited, so that's good. But yeah, it's just confusing. So you see that you made this much money this month, but you don't get it until 3 months later, and it gets automatically deposited into like PayPal, which I find slightly weird, but I'm sure that's safer. But yeah, I just find the whole setup of Ingram and their reports and the way the money works confusing. It's not a user-friendly platform, whereas Kindle, KDP, everything is like super, like, you get it, you can find stuff, it's user-friendly. IngramSpark is about the opposite. They are changing it, they're making updates, and it's seeming a little bit better, but still when it comes to generating reports, I always have issues. So I guess the next thing we want to talk about is royalty rates. So for royalty rates on IngramSpark, the whole reasoning usually behind IngramSpark, why you would want to exclusively go with IngramSpark, is because their expanded distribution is awesome. So not only can you sell your books through Amazon, you can sell them basically anywhere you want. When your goal is to like sell your book to Barnes & Noble, sometimes you want to make a lower royalty rate because that will encourage retailers to buy your book more because they can buy it at a lower rate like other regular publishers do. So I did that thinking, okay, I want to sell my book at Barnes & Noble, so I'm going to do a royalty rate of like 40 or 50%. What I didn't think of was the fact that that means I'm only making 40 or 50% when I sell my books off of Amazon as well. So all of a sudden I was making almost no money off of my books. And I know I'm not the only author that's done this, and I know that's totally on me, but it's just frustrating. Like, you almost wish that you can set a royalty rate for expanded distribution versus just regular Amazon distribution. That way you can be like, okay, when I'm selling expanded, I want to sell my books at a 40% royalty rate, and when I'm selling on Amazon, I want to sell at a 75% royalty rate, which makes way more sense. Which brings me to my next point. If you would like to do that, what you basically do is you publish your book in both places, on Amazon, on KDP, and on IngramSpark. And you just have to make sure your book has the same exact ISBN number in both places. That way on Amazon they link up. So basically what happens when you do that is KDP handles all the Amazon orders, and then anywhere else that orders your books is printed through IngramSpark. So that's kind of how you solve the problem of, hey, I want expanded distribution, but I also want to make really good royalty rates off of Amazon. Now, it doesn't solve that problem for hardcover books. Hardcover books, you can't publish hardcover books through KDP. But honestly, as a self-published author, you really don't sell a whole lot of hardcover books. I sell hardcover books more often like at book signings than I do like online, which, you know, it is what it is. So I like to call IngramSpark a necessary evil. As much as you don't want to work with them, you kind of sort of have to if you want that expanded distribution, and especially so if you want hardcover books. I believe Lulu produces hardcover books as well, but I don't think their quality is as good, and I think their prices for printing the hardcover books is much higher. So if you do want to do hardcover books, try to stick with IngramSpark. And of course, if you do want that expanded distribution, stick with IngramSpark. Just be mentally prepared for a few roadblocks. And I guess if you have any questions, Google it or find it on YouTube, like right here. So that is it for today's video. If you found it helpful, let me know in the comments down below, or let me know of your experience with IngramSpark. If you'd like to stay up to date with everything I'm doing, be sure to subscribe to my author newsletter. When you subscribe, you get free downloads as well as access to my webinars. And if you'd also like to unlock cool exclusive content, be sure to join me over on Patreon. All the links are down in the description. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe.